Ice baths are everywhere. Probably your gym just installed a plunge pool. Actually, I've seen it a couple of days ago at dinner, standing right next to the pool. And you see your friends probably swear that it changed his or her life. And when you look at Instagram, it just probably makes you believe that if you're not voluntarily freezing yourself, you're actually not serious about your performance. So I was wondering, is a plunge pool actually worth it, and do I really have to step into? Because if you know me, you know I hate the cold. So I'm breaking it down today. Is it worth it, or is it just another expensive discomfort trend dressed up as discipline? So let's break it down. Hi, I'm Dr. Kerstin, a former cardiac surgeon and ex-Deloitte director and the founder of the Leadership Clinic. And this is Have It All. That's the podcast for high-achieving professionals who want to live longer, live smarter, and still look damn good doing it. And today's episode, we are doing a longevity check on the cold exposure, because probably you don't need more trends. You need to know what actually works, and that's why I'm here for and what I do in this little longevity series. Because when we look at the hype around ice baths, the promises are really big. They say it reduces inflammation in your body, it's better for your recovery, you have more focus, better mood, increases your mental toughness, and some even claim that it rewires your nervous system. So I was wondering how much of that is really true. Let's start with what's actually supported by research. First, the mood boost is real. So that's something that's really proven. Cold exposure actually triggers a massive spike in dopamine. It can be up to 250%. So yeah, chocolate doesn't do even a fraction of it. But that's actually the reason, the spike in dopamine. That's why you feel energized, that's why you feel focused, and probably borderline euphoric after a plunge. And it also increases norepinephrine, which improves alertness and motivation. So actually, yes, it can give you that post-plunge high. So the next thing that's proven is that cold exposure does reduce muscle soreness. So there was a Cochrane review showed that 10 to 15 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes after intense training can actually decrease your DOMS, so your delayed onset muscle soreness. And probably everyone that's doing CrossFit like me, we've all experienced that. It doesn't repair your tissue faster, but you feel better faster. So that's probably the big difference. It's not that the processes in your body speed up, but actually you feel better faster. And so that's probably on the plus side. The third thing that's legit is actually that it's a tool to train your nervous system, because just like strength training builds physical resilience, exposure builds stress tolerance. You learn to control your breath, because when you jump into or even just glide into it, your breath kind of stops. So you really learn to control your breath and breathe deeply. It calms your system and overrides panic. So that skill actually carries over into our real life, into your boardrooms, into your pitches, and into complex situations. So that's actually a plus as well. So now that we digged into that the mood boost is real, that it can reduce muscle soreness, and that it can train your nervous system, so now I want to dig into what it can't and what it's definitely overhyped. First, we want to talk about hypertrophy, because when we are training our muscles, and if you jump into an ice bath right after strength training, you are actually blunting the muscle building signal. So multiple studies actually confirm that it can suppress mTOR, which is what drives your muscle growth. And so if your goal is building strength or size, wait at least 4 to 6 hours before icing. So actually, because it's counterproductive to ice after strength training if you're training for muscle growth. And yes, ladies, we train for muscle growth as well, because we want to get stronger, build that muscle to be in the longevity game and prevent ourselves from fraying. The second myth is that it helps reduce your brown fat and fat loss actually. Because yes, the cold actually activates brown fat, which burns energy to warm you up, but unless you're combining it with serious training and nutrition, the fat loss impact is actually minimal, and it's not a shortcut to be used for fat loss because it doesn't really work. And finally, when we talk about the immunity, because a lot of people say that it helps your immune system if you do the cold plunge, when we look into the science, it's true that there are short-term immune boosts, especially in protocols that combine cold with breath work. But for most people doing random 3-minute plunges, the immune benefits are negligible. So the verdict in longevity terms, is an ice bath worth it? Unfortunately, I have to say, yes, it is. Unfortunately, because I hate the cold and I would have liked another outcome that I can ditch all the cold stuff. But yes, it can have some benefits. And if you're really using it with purpose, and if you're constantly overstimulated, under-recovered, or struggling with your mood and mental clarity, then definitely cold exposure can help. So it gives you kind of a reset, a spike in focus, and a chance actually to train your nervous system. But again, it's not magic and it's not essential. And you don't need a $10,000 plunge tub on your patio. Probably a garbage bin with cold water would work as well, although I can't imagine myself going or getting into a garbage bin, so probably would ditch that. But if you're up for that, you could use that. Or actually, that's probably what I will incorporate into my life, is a cold shower. So if you have never used cold plunges, if you're not used to ice baths, so here's actually how to use cold exposure intelligently. So that's a plan. You can start with a cold shower finisher. So that's probably what I try to do. It's at the end of your normal shower, do 30 seconds of cold showering. Start with 30 seconds and then build up to 2 to 3 minutes, because that's all it takes. So if you're using a plunge and really go into, aim for 10 to 15 degrees. So it doesn't have to be 0 degrees. 10 to 15 degrees is totally sufficient to get the benefits. And then do it and aim for 2 to 5 minutes. So you probably all know people that are going in there and telling ourselves afterwards, oh yeah, I've been into the ice bath for 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? So you don't need to do that. 10 to 15 degrees Celsius and 2 to 5 minutes is totally enough. Because you don't need to go longer. It doesn't add any benefit if you do it longer. It's just probably the discomfort you're feeling is much worse. And the best time actually to do it, so when to incorporate, should you do the cold shower, the plunge at night or in the morning, definitely go and do it in the morning, because there your cortisol is already elevated, and the cold plunge will wake you up, it will stabilize your mood during the day and help shift your gears into focus mode for the day. If you're thinking about, do I have to plunge every day, or how often should I do that? Actually 2 to 4 times a week is enough. You don't need to do more than that, because when you do more than that, you'll adapt and the effect actually diminishes. So think of it probably like an espresso. The first one in the morning hits probably harder than the fifth one in the afternoon. And avoid post-strength training plunges. So don't do strength training and then hop into the plunge if your goal is really muscle growth. And as I said earlier, for every one of us, it's muscle growth, because we want to get our muscles growing, and no, it won't bulk you up. So that's why you should save the plunge probably for rest days or for cardio days. So those are the excellent days to do the cold plunge. And if you want to do it on a strength training or CrossFit day, then do it later in the day, not directly after your strength training. And always track how you actually feel, how it makes you feel in real life, and not how you look like on Instagram holding your breath in a barrel of ice. So the verdict, cold plunges, yes or no? In my longevity score, it's probably an 8 out of 10 as well. So cold plunges are definitely not essential, but they are not snake oil either, so they are not a fluke. So if you're using it well, they are a sharp tool actually in your performance kit. But like everything, it only works if it fits into your system. And if you're not sure what that system should be, then you can always come with me. You can book a diagnostic checkup at the Leadership Clinic. It's a 45-minute strategic session where we analyze your career, your health, and performance habits like a surgeon. So I'll put the link in the show notes. And again, thanks for listening. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you help me grow this channel and I make a whole lot more videos about longevity myth or longevity actually proven systems and proven things to do. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Kerstin and this was probably your longevity check on Have It All. So I see you in the next one.